Hi everybody, this is Dr. RF and welcome to Unit 4. This week we're going to be discussing critical thinking in psychology. Let's see. How do we define critical thinking? Here I'm actually going to go to the Association for Psychological Sciences. One of my favorite definitions I found was the real value of being a good critical thinker in psychology is so you won't be a jerk. I thought that was a really good one. But here is actually a better one. The propensity and skills to engage in activity with reflective skepticism, focused on deciding what to believe or do. The idea is that we are skeptics. We are looking for evidence before we make up our minds. Okay. By doing this, we control the bias in our decisions. Okay. Human beings in general, we tend to believe that our beliefs are true things, that what we believe is real and true, and that is the absolute truth. And to avoid that, we try to employ what is called critical thinking. On this website, and just don't worry about this because I will be providing all the links. This is from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. It goes through Dewey. Dewey is a philosopher who wrote a book on critical thinking in the early 1900s. And there's actually several examples of what critical thinking is. It's not this huge, oh, I'm going to think so hard on this subject. It's about gathering data. As a psychologist, as a counselor, as a therapist, what you will be doing is looking at a situation and avoiding your quick summary of what it is. Okay. For example, for those of you going into the addiction program, we're going to have people come in front of us and say certain things, and many will have what we would call use disorders or an addiction, and other diagnoses. Okay. You are going to be taught to diagnose. So one of the things that you will learn in diagnosing is that we need to take in the evidence before we come up with a real diagnosis. You know, just because somebody looks a certain way doesn't mean that that's their diagnosis. So here in the Dewey examples, they come up with, different things like, for example, I think it was, a man finds his rooms on his return to them in disorder with his belongings thrown about. First he thinks burglary. It's a good assumption, right? And then he thinks mischievous children, because you have to come up with what's the other explanation. And then he goes about looking to see whether there's anything missing and discovers that something is. So this is why then he starts pointing more towards burglary. In cases of, for example, diagnostics, we would look at the client, and as they start talking to us and telling us things about them, we start picking out symptoms and criteria. And on most occasions, we also try to rule out the possibility that they do have a mental disorder, and try to find a physical reason for things to happen. So, for example, if the person is saying, oh, I can't sleep at night, and my appetite's gone, and I don't have much motivation, first thoughts are, oh, maybe they're depressed. But you also want to ask questions like, well, are you experiencing any kind of pain? Because I don't know about you, but when I'm in pain, I can't sleep, I can't really concentrate, and I'm not really hungry. See what I'm talking about? Critical thinking. We have to be ready to be wrong. Okay. So I will, let's see, and this is that one. I already showed that one, and I showed this one. So number 2, this week you're going to have an assignment. In your assignment, you will have to find a research article. Okay. What does that mean? The research article will have an experiment attached to it. Okay, do not be thrown off by the fact that when you first start reading a research article, it looks like a review. Because one of the things we do before we actually do an experiment is provide the reader kind of like a summary of everything that's been done before this experiment. We take the variables that we're going to be studying, and we provide the reader with what it means, what the variable is defined as, and we provide them with the past evidence that it has shown. So, for example, I write about, I study and I write about marriage and meaning, and then when I write my articles, I write things like meaning means this, and this is what meaning does. That meaning has been associated with life satisfaction. That meaning provides people who experience trauma with a way to make sense of it, and that they don't experience PTSD because of it. All this stuff. It's all written there, and it's written concisely and simply for the reader so that they understand what the variables are. And then you show them any kind of past research with those variables involved, if they both were the same thing or they're all those different variables. Who knows how many they have. And then they'll talk about a method. The method is going to have participants. The method is going to have measures in it. The method is going to tell you how they did it, that they got a research lab and they brought in 400 people and they gave them these things to do and all that. Then you're going to have the results. The results is going to look like a lot of math. And they're going to talk about math. And this was, positively correlated, or this was significant by this and this. Then they're going to have a discussion. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a research article. Now, to give you more of an idea, I know that last week in the seminar, we did a quick little library field trip during seminar. I'm going to do a video right after this one and post it with this one of how to get into the library again, what kind of key terms you're going to be using, and how to look up and retrieve a research article. Okay, so questions, everything is due by Tuesday midnight. That would be, just making sure I know what day it is, Tuesday midnight would be the 16th by the midnight. So your paper needs to be in by the 16th at midnight. Once again, your discussions are due by 16th at midnight. Try to get them in early. Make sure that you are responding to at least 2 of your classmates. If you have any questions, email me. I will see you tonight in seminar at 8 p.m. sharp. And I look forward to seeing you guys. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.